To make a motion to open the select board meeting of Monday, February 26, 2024. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to open a select board meeting for February 26, 2024.
I just want to let everyone know this meeting is being recorded by Marshfield Community Media. And would everyone rise, please, join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there no chairman's comments this evening? We'll move right over to the town administrator's report, please.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Participated in the discussion with Secretary Augustus' office. He did a Zoom to discuss the economic development tied to housing initiatives by the Governor Healy administration that included $4 billion in capital to support public housing renovations for existing public housing, along with the creation of new housing in the Commonwealth using MBTA initiative for feeder communities, adjacent communities, and those communities within a half mile of a T-stop station or platform. During the storm that fizzled out 2 weeks ago, participated in a number of interviews with Channel 5, Channel 7, WATD, and WBUR. Had a conference call with Mark Ford from the advisory board regarding the FY25 budget. Participated in a Teams meeting regarding the town of Marshfield's PFAS litigation with Paul Duros from DPW's Water Department to discuss information needed by our legal team. Had a meeting with Cecilia Delgadillo regarding Marshfield Housing Authority. We discussed a number of issues. Participated in a meeting with Danielle and Sean Strobel, our town accountant, to review our process to hire a new accountant. At present, 9 communities, including Marshfield, Holbrook, Whitman, Mattapoisett, Acushnet, Boxborough, Westborough, Ludlow, and Wilmington are looking for new town accountants. A couple of applications have come in, but they lack the necessary qualification to be considered. We pay better than the majority of the communities that are out looking, but we are much bigger and have many more transactions. I had a meeting with Sue Karen, Chair of the Open Space Committee, regarding the newly purchased town land, 2160 Ocean Street. An RFP will be issued regarding the timeline for the RFP for 2160. It's the expansion of the South River Park. Potential renovations, design, and build-out to be funded through grants and the CPC. The goal is to award a contract in the fall of 2024. MCTV Robert Godeas did a taped interview with me and following up on the storm regarding coastal erosion and the effects on our beach nourishment and seawalls. Had a meeting with Fred Russell, our facility director, regarding updates on a number of town projects, including the generators, school roofs, photovoltaics, town hall renovation, dog park, the invasive plant removal that's going to be required, the Garrettson Barn and the Blacksmith Building historic repairs. Meeting with the Emory Senate, I had assessor to discuss and locate a section of the law that would allow supplemental billing that was adopted by the town in 2003. The state didn't have a certified copy of the select board minutes showing the adoption. Keeping good minutes pays off because Kate and Jenna were able to find it, and we were able to have them certified and sent in. Participated in a meeting with Tom Hickey, the superintendent of the South Shore Regional Technical School. Come in to give me an update on project and timeline. Marshfield will become an official voting member on July 1st, 2024. Our financial responsibilities at that time will include our annual payment into stabilization fund of about approximately $39,000 annually for the next 10 years. And our contribution to the FY25 budget at present is $58,774. Update on design option with the MSBA and preferred schematic submitted in February of 2024. The MSB board will begin their review in April of 2024 with a hopeful vote by the MSBA in October of 2024, with finally a potential district ballot question in early 2025. Had a meeting with the advisory board to answer any questions as they begin their review and votes on the department's FY25 budgets. Had my monthly department head meeting, reviewed a number of topics, digitalization of records, the town meeting warrant, town meeting, the joint meeting, et cetera, all the information that our department heads need to know. Participated in negotiations with our police union and labor council. Meeting with Sean Strobel, the treasurer collector, and Renee Davis from Markham, a new audit firm that bought Powers and Sullivan. They'll be handling annual town audits. Participated in Mayflower Municipal Health Group meeting to discuss and vote on the health insurance rates for FY '25 with recommendation to the full Board of Directors of the Mass Municipal in March. Mayflower Municipal Fund balance is over $31 million. Had a meeting with Mike Seal, our Conservation Administrator, and Sue Karen, our Chair of the Open Space, to discuss the donation of the land to the town of Marshfield by the Fairbanks, which is on the Select Board agenda this evening. Participated in a meeting to review the Gatwa bus stop being proposed at the Furnace Brook School to take students to the Ventress Library with DPW, Town Planner, Library Director, School Superintendent, and Assistant Superintendent for Business Administration, Tom Miller, who's here this evening about getting that stop going so that we can get our kids to the library. Had a meeting with Bob Arsenault and his neighbors on Cove Street and Bluefish Cove regarding the coastal erosion caused by the storm last week that carried out many feet of sand and cobble, rendering their stairs unusual. We're reaching out to the Conservation Administrator and DPW to see what options might be available for those residents. Had a meeting with Mike DeMeo, our harbor master, regarding moorings being reinstalled, and an update regarding the pier ramp project that will be replaced by the Commonwealth beginning in March, next week. Participated in the Capital Budget Committee to review capital improvement plan and capital request for FY '23. Capital budget covers items that cost over $25,000, have a life expectancy of at least 5 years. Participated in the MBTA commuter webinar. The MBT zoning requires cover over 177 adjacent communities which must comply, or they will lose funding for schools, seawalls, seaports, roads, and bridges if towns do not adopt the MBTA district. The town at this point only needs to adopt the proposed district. And that is my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I would like to announce that there will be an executive session this evening. It's going to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining that, if conducted in open session, may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town. Made it right past 6:35. Mr. Stewart, if you please come up, identify yourself. Cecilia, would you please come up, identify yourself?
Yep.
I assume this has to do with the new regulations, 310 CMR?
Yep. Andrew Stewart, I'm the building commissioner and floodplain administrator.
I'm Mike Seeley, I'm the Conservation Administrator.
So we are here tonight to give you a brief overview of some of the updates to the Wetlands Protection Act regulations and the building code regulations as they apply to floodplain development in the town of Marshfield and the state of Massachusetts. So the 10th edition of the building code is currently under being proposed to be adopted. And there have been several climate resiliency amendments that are being proposed in that. The original amendments included adding additional feet of freeboard to what we already have is an additional foot to the FEMA requirement. So in Massachusetts, the current regulations require, in most zones, an additional foot of what they call freeboard or elevation above the base flood elevation from FEMA. In the velocity zone, you're required to have an additional 2 feet, and that's to the bottom of what they call the lowest horizontal member, or where the top of the piles or columns are cut off. And so those amendments were initially proposed to increase those elevations by an additional foot. So most A zones would be 2 feet, V zones would then be 3 feet. And what has happened is through a series of hearings and public commentary by building officials, that has been changed back. So residential flood elevations are going to go back to what they were with just the additional foot in A zones and 2 feet in velocity zones. However, for non-residential buildings, they will be increasing those requirements. For all sorts of different buildings. There's 4 different kind of classes of buildings. You've got accessory structures and small kind of structures that really won't cause any damage. You've got your normal structures like residence, houses and whatnot. Then you have more structures similar to like our pump station that's getting redeveloped. That would be a flood design class 3, so something that is a critical facility. And then you have emergency facilities, police departments, fire departments, air control, traffic control towers, those types of things that have to keep operating regardless. So those types of construction, non-residential construction, will have an additional foot added to what it does. The other thing that they are adopting in Massachusetts, which they hadn't for a long time, is what they call the coastal A zone. And the coastal A zone is delineated by what they call the limit of moderate wave action. A limit of moderate wave action is where you'll have up to 3-foot waves coming at you in the 1% flood. And in Marshfield, it just so happens that that limit of moderate wave action is the same as the velocity zone delineation, pretty much for the entire town, or at least where we have any residential or commercial development currently. So as far as, I don't believe there will be a lot of changes to anything in a, as far as a building code goes for any kind of residential construction currently than what is in the regulations. However, commercial construction, public works construction, that type of critical facilities, those will have additional requirements going forward. This is all in the name of climate resiliency, basically responding to increased flooding, increased precipitation, sea level rise, all those types of issues that we're facing now. In addition, they, at the same time, are proposing updated wetlands protection regulations that include performance standards for the land subject to coastal storm flowage, which is in a flood zone. So you've got additional regulations. So they have never had performance standards for that aspect of the wetlands protection regulations, and they've been working on them for quite some time. And it's great to see, because now at least we'll have some kind of a standard for conservation commissions to go by with these performance standards. The definitions are in concert with what FEMA is utilizing, and they are now utilizing that same limit of moderate wave action to kind of create zones in which they can use to define how they want to condition properties, what is allowed. And I can let Mike explain that a little more if you'd like.
Perfect. So, the chair of the Conservation Commission will be establishing a subcommittee of the commission to examine the new Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection regulation changes compared to the existing regulations and the Town of Marshfield Chapter 505 Wetland Protection Regulations. This subcommittee's goal will be to ensure that the Marshfield Chapter 505 wetland regulations are compatible with the new state regulations. Going off a few points here, Chapter 91 filing under Mass DEP requires that a conservation permit is issued before submitting a filing. Some of the new standards for projects in velocity zones and moderate wave action areas are slated to be no adverse effects for construction and development of those parcels. And the public comment period has been extended from March 1st to April 30th, 2024, and will include informal office hours to address stakeholder questions. I encourage any questions to be sent to myself or the Conservation Commission.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming in. Also, the public to know that we have the chair of the Conservation Commission here as well, zooming in. I know they always say that they're not going to have much effect, but it seems like after a while they always seem to have a lot of effect. One part, I think, Andrew, that you touched on is inland. That's been needed for quite a long time. So that's just something they needed to clear up and they just hadn't done. So I think there will be some effect. You said that the 3-foot lines up with Vs, all Vs?
In our town,
Oh,
yeah.
the-
I've checked it.
the
and
entire
The
V
limit
zone.
of moderate wave action, it lines up with all our V zones in town, at least where there's any residential construction. It varies sometimes out in the middle of a coastal dune or in a salt marsh where there's nothing,
But
and you
For all
can't build there
practical
anyway
purposes,
based
yeah.
on the
Yes.
performance standards for those resource areas. So that's one thing, is that, I know in the Wetlands Protection Act regulations, that the specific resource area performance standards will trump the actual flood zone standards that they're coming out with, that they'll just incorporate them as exceptions.
Right. One point from one of the DP presentations was that if there's a property within another resource area as well as land subject to coastal storm flowage, follow performance standards for the other resource area. So typically, if it's in buffer zone to salt marsh and land subject to coastal storm flowage, the buffer zone to salt marsh would be priority.
And the, one other thing I know, because just in my conversations with the administrator, was about the velocity zone, and one of the regulations was that no new construction happen in a velocity zone, and I know that sounds concerning. But one of the things about the velocity zone is most of those are in a coastal dune, and most of those are in an area, well, new construction, let me first say, refers to an undeveloped lot. So this would be a pristine lot that's never had any development on it, and that's what they're considering new construction. They're not considering new construction like a developed property that you're gonna knock down and rebuild, although there are gonna be additional requirements there about keeping it in the same footprint and, you know, the elevation requirements, but it doesn't mean that you cannot do that type of work. You also can't get any further seaward than what you are currently with the new regulations. But we don't allow any new construction in coastal dunes or and undeveloped lots, you know, in that area generally anyway. So I don't know that that would affect anything. We have court cases going back with all the, you know, lots, undeveloped lots down in Wrexham Beach that, you know, we didn't allow construction on, and were appealed and ultimately upheld by the state when they got delineated as a coastal dune or something like that.
My colleagues, questions, comments?
I have a couple. Thank you for coming, especially being here together. It shows us that you're both into what we need to do. So my first reaction for this was that it was preliminary and that it was premature, and I needed to read it several times, and I think I reached out to Andrew as well. So I think that the general public may have that same reaction towards what the proposals are. And as you can see in the actual extension that we're dealing with right now, they're giving us more time to kind of hash things out in our communities and work things out. So my impression of where we're headed in this is, as you said, it's not going to be the 3-foot waves. We're dealing with that, correct? It's not going to have a huge impact, but the new development in these areas may have an impact on what we're dealing with in the future. So I'd just like to encourage the two of you to continue to keep working together, to keep us informed, because it's a big task, and it's a big task for the Commonwealth as well. So we're heading in the path of resiliency, but we're not there yet. And everything we add, it may just be a few comments here and there, but if every municipality adds their own input to what we're going to end up with, then maybe it'll be worth something. So I appreciate you being here, and we'll see how this thing goes.
Well, and like you said, there is a lot of public interest in this, and they did extend those things, and
Yes.
Mike and I attended one of the office hour sessions today, and they're quite informative. And I've got a link up on the website to both the information about the building code hearings and the office hour sessions that are being held by Mass DEP, so that if anybody's interested, they can go to that news article in the building department website. And I'm sure Mike will get a link up too to that as
Yeah.
well, so that anybody interested can attend one of those office hours and get some more information or even provide public comment if they'd like.
We can also post the links to the recorded YouTube videos
Okay.
of the Mass DEP's presentation regarding these changes, which will likely answer some of those questions before we get to them.
Can I just have one final question,
Absolutely.
Chair? So when you're working at your 505 regs and you're taking an evaluation from the standpoint of our Conservation Commission, and you're going to take a look at the state and what they're presenting, where does that fit into your scheduling? And what impact do you think that discussion will have on conservation?
Scheduling regarding
So-
permit issuance, or?
So the process itself, when you're evaluating whether or not we, as a town, would become more stringent towards state regulations or remain the same, how do you approach that as conservation?
I would have to confer with the chair of our commission on that one. The chair would likely, and the subcommittee, as I mentioned earlier, would likely be deciding that.
Okay. So that falls entirely on your Conservation Commission, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You kind of stole my question on 505, so I would say I'm glad that you are putting together a subcommittee. We did, I think the commission did a thorough review of the 505 about 4 years or so ago, and it was the first time in like 20 years, so here you'll be looking at interpreting Commonwealth law, not necessarily town bylaw that hasn't changed. That would have to go to town meeting to see if we just make sure they're congruent. So, thank you. Stephen?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Chairman Hammond, would you like to make a statement or have any additional comments?
No, I'm just tuning in to see the presentation. We have a lot of homework to do, and we'll be on it.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us this evening. I think it's going to end up being, something a lot of our citizens will have a lot of questions around, because it is a kind of even though it may not have a lot of impact in two particular houses, if it's your house, and it is the one that has a lot of impact, it's important. So I think the educational part of this is very important. I applaud both of you for posting those things on the website. And, maybe we'll have you back in a certain amount of time here after you get going, so we can try to keep the public more informed as well as ourselves. So,
Yeah, once they pass the building code additions and.
yeah, maybe that'd be a good time to do it.
Would be happy to come back and answer any questions. And for any citizens interested in all this stuff, Mike and I are always open to have discussions with people. Love working with him and Liz, so we're all working great together.
Same here, and always happy to help.
Yeah.
I'd like to
Thanks
thank
for
all of
having
you
us.
for coming in that had, was part of this presentation. Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, I guess we get to move to the agendas. First agenda item is a discussion and vote to approve the updated mooring skiff regulations and specification documents. We had a presentation by the harbor master. I think, Master Mayo, yes, he is online here. We have any additional questions? And we used a new policy where we have one extra meeting to be able to think about it and come up with any ideas of questions. So I'll ask my colleagues if they'd like to move forward, or they have questions or comments.
I'm comfortable with this, thank you.
Good to move forward.
Oh, all right, then. I would like to make a motion that the board moves to approve the updated mooring skiff regulations and specification documents as proposed by the Select Board on February 12th, 2024. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the updated mooring skiff regulations and specification documents as proposed at the Select Board meeting on February 12, 2024.
Thank you. Second item on the agenda is a discussion and vote to request an increase in beach sticker fees and non-resident daily parking passes. Is there anyone that would like to speak on behalf of this particular action item?
Sure.
Or against?
Thank you. So beach season's almost upon us, and more importantly, beach sticker sales.
If you just be kind enough, identify yourself.
Of course, Lieutenant Sullivan from the Police Department, and this is Cindy Castro, the Beach Commissioner.
Thank you.
So with that in mind, in order to bring the residents the best service this year from the beach, we're requesting a increase to $60 for a resident beach sticker. We're also asking to increase $5 on each non-resident day pass that is sold.
Comments from the board?
I think $5 is a reasonable increase.
We do as well.
Yeah.
Ms. Darcy? I have no comments either. I know that we all wish we had more parking spaces, that's for sure. And, you know, they're always open in January, but in, you know, that third weekend in July when it's 90 degrees, they're tough to get. But it still is, although it is an increase, you know, it is one of the benefits of living on the coastal community, to be able to go to the beach and get there. So I'd like to make a motion then that we approve to recommend the beach sticker fee of $60 for all stickers purchased online or in person. This is a $5 increase. Furthermore, non-resident daily passes, $5 increase for all, Monday through Thursday, 20 to 25, Friday and Saturday from 25 to 30, and Sunday from 30 to 35. That seems to be obviously the busiest day. Effective today, February 26, 2024. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to recommend the beach sticker fee of $60 for all stickers and subsequent $5 for each of those other categories.
And what I am requesting officially is that we have way less rain this summer than last summer. What was it, 15 out of 19 weekends?
Yeah, it was a tough run. We're hoping the
Don't they wish
same.
they could say that? I
I'm
guarantee.
putting you guys in charge of that one.
Sounds good to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, we have the Assistant Superintendent from the schools.
Which one is he for?
He is for the,
Oh, the roof project.
yes.
Stephen.
I was,
Stephen?
Hiding in the back.
I was ready.
I'm sorry, Steve.
That's okay.
My apologies.
No worries, no worries. Actually, I didn't hear.
Actually,
That was-
actually, it's Stephen's fault. Just, you know, I'm always bad at that.
Thank you for having me here. This is a vote to submit.
You just,
Oh,
kind of-
Thomas Miller, Assistant Superintendent of Business Finance,
Thank you.
89 Ames Way. This is a vote to submit a statement of interest to the Massachusetts School Building Authority. We have done this in the past for the Martinson Elementary School roof. In the past, the MSBA had a 20-year lifespan, so we initially had, before you could submit for a roof in the accelerated repair project, they just recently changed regulations from 20 to 25, and this year we are now hitting the 25-year mark for Martinson. We've had a number of detailed studies on all of our school roofs, especially with the solar project coming up. We're fortunate that our other buildings are repairable, but it's been determined that the Martinson roof is beyond a temporary repair and it needs a full roof replacement. So that's what this statement of interest is being submitted for. The timeline, it has to be submitted by March 1st. The school committee will be voting on it tomorrow evening, and then we can fully submit it to the school building authority. They'll do their due diligence. We won't expect an outcome on this probably till October as well, similar to the South Shore project. So the only other thing is that the specific vote language, I'm not sure if anybody was on the board the last time we came before you, but it has to be read into the minutes. So per Massachusetts School Building Authority. So I think you have that. The only thing I might be was the date on that language. It was February 20. It's February 22nd. I'm not sure what was originally sent over.
The resolution that I have for resolved is February 26, 2024. Should that be a different date?
Well, that's today.
Yes, I understand that.
On the submitted, about the fifth line down, where it says authority, the statement of interest form dated and I think it may have had a different date.
2/9.
Ours says
2/9, so, yeah, so that should be updated to 2/22.
So I should read that in as
Yes.
222? Okay. Any other changes to the resolve statement?
Other than that, everything on that language is just specific to the MSBA.
Excellent.
Well, I know that, we have some roof projects coming up. They are expensive. Roofs all wear out, whether it's your house or, a school. Unfortunately, this roof needs more than just putting a new rubber surface on it. It needs some structural works.
Yes.
So we need to get going on that, so I agree with that. I'll open it up to my colleagues for comments.
Thank you for coming. Michael, can you give us a little bit of the history of where this has gone?
Sure, so this is a very standard project, so roofs are expensive, as the chairman and the assistant superintendent alluded to. As you've heard, and we've been talking about putting a rubber membrane on top of the other roofs that don't need really structural.
Right.
They'll get a rubber covering. The underwood supports don't need to be adjusted. So with this project, this is very extensive. They're going to the MSBA to get assistance. MSBA, depending on the project, the community, is a number of things. The assistant superintendent would be better at it, but usually we would get like 40, hopefully
It's,
40%.
in the past, it's been 40 to 45. They've have significantly more funding now, so they anticipate that it could even be more. They haven't, obviously, we won't know until everything is settled, but it could be up to 55 to 60% now, so.
So that's a huge savings, and that's why the school goes through this process, and this is the first step. The Board of Selectmen does the resolve and votes to submit. The school committee does, and that really begins the process, and then Tom and his team take it the rest of the way.
So you just do the scope of work and the management
They
plans
consult.
and all?
Yeah, as soon as, what actually happens is once we submit, the MSBA, they'll probably receive, they didn't have this last year. It's the first year they hadn't had it since 2014, I believe, so they put a halt on it. So they're gonna have probably more submittals than normal, but they typically get about 150 to 200 and then select about 50 to 60. And then after that initial selection, they'll do their due diligence. They'll come out and look, make sure everything that we put in that report is factual, and then might ask for more information, but then it eventually does go to the MSBA board for a vote. And then once that happens, it goes to a feasibility study where the real detail gets done, so.
Okay, so
It'll
this
be-
project becomes one of several other
Correct.
municipalities?
Yes,
and we're
yeah, and we'll have an owner's
grateful
project
that it's-
manager
okay.
that's given to us by the MSBA. So an outside third party really kind of manages the process too. So we've been fortunate because we've had 3 projects with the MSBA. We had Governor Winslow way back when, 2008, 2009. That was windows and heating system. Then we obviously had the new high school, and then we had the Furnace Brook roof, which is the same age as the Martinson roof. They're both
there
a
you go,
relic
yeah.
from the 99 renovation of both those buildings. So the Martinson roof is definitely overdue, and as the real key piece to this is the structural component. We've had a couple of issues over the last 5 or 6 years that really kind of pushed this to the forefront. We were 20 years in, and we were asking for a new roof, and that's changed, but now we hit that 25-year mark. So we're hopeful that we'll make our argument and at least get invited in for the process.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, you're good, right? Yep. Not to put you on the spot, but would you be kind enough to let the audience know, you keep on referring to MSBA?
Massachusetts School Building Authority.
Thank you.
Yes.
We all know the acronyms, but not everybody knows the
Yeah.
acronyms.
We don't all.
SOI, Statement of Interest, there's acronyms everywhere.
No, I am about acronyms.
Then without any further comment, I'd like to move to the resolution. All right. I'd like to make a move that the board authorize the superintendent to submit a statement of interest to the MSBA for the Martinson School Roof Project with the following resolved. having convened in an open meeting on February 26 prior to the SOI submission closing date, the Select Board of the Town of Marshfield, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated February 22nd, 2024 for the Martinson Elementary School located at 275 Forest Street, Marshfield, Mass., which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which the application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future for replacement of roofing systems, and hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting the statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the town of Marshfield to filling an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority. And I'd look for a second for that result.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the resolve required by the statement of interest to the MSBA.
So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Helping us all understand that.
Yeah, all good. Thank you.
All right. I think we're back to 3. 3 is a discussion and vote on the application of a one-day all alcohol liquor license, South Shore Cocktails LLC, and that is number 4 in the packet for everyone. This is going to be for the North River Art Society, opening reception for their festival poster exhibit, wine and malt beverages, and they're looking for a one-day all alcohol liquor license. Any comments from my colleagues on this application?
No, sir.
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion. The board moves to approve an indoor one-day alcoholic beverage license for Erica Doherty of Marshfield for the South Shore Cocktails LLC on April 6, 2024, at 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the Chamber of Commerce Women's Owned Business Expo at RT3 Stages located at 125 Enterprise Drive. Pending sign-off for the Marshfield Fire Department, Marshfield Police Department, submission of a copy of the liquor liability insurance naming the town of Marshfield. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the indoor one-day all-alcoholic beverage license for Erica Doherty, Marshfield South Shore Cocktails LLC for April 6th.
And I think everybody knows that I pulled number 4 instead of number 3 from my review. So now we'll go back, and we're going to do the one I spoke about last time, which is for the opening reception of the festival exhibit. And any comments, concerns from
No,
my
sir.
colleagues? Hearing none, then the board moves to approve an indoor one-day wine and malt beverage license for Maureen Smith of Marshfield North River Art Society, Saturday, March 9th, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m. at 157 Old Main Street, Marshfield Hills, for the opening reception for their festival poster exhibit, pending sign-off from the Marshfield Fire Department, Marshfield Police Department, and the submission of a copy of their liquor liability insurance naming the town of Marshfield. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the one-day indoor wine and malt license for Maureen Smith for the North River Art Society for Saturday, March 9th, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m.
All right, then we have a second on this exact same thing. This is for Saturday, April 6, 2024. Without comment from my colleagues, the board moves to approve an indoor one-day wine and malt liquor beverage license for Maureen Smith of Marshfield North River Art Society for Saturday, April 6, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m. at 157 Old Main Street, Marshfield Hills, for the opening reception for their festival poster exhibit, pending sign-off of the Marshfield Police Department, Marshfield Fire Department, and submission of a copy of their liquor liability insurance naming the town of Marshfield. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve a one-day indoor wine and malt license for Maureen Smith of Marshfield North River Art Society for Saturday, April 6, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m.
Okay. Number 5, discussion and vote for the application of one-day wine and malt liquor license, 42nd Parallel Brewing. That's a pop-up beer garden, Mike?
Yes, it is.
March 16, 2024, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any discussion from my colleagues? Hearing none. I'd like to make a motion, the board moves to approve a outdoor one-day wine and malt beverage license for Paul Shiley?
Shiley.
Yeah, that's close. Of Kingston for the 42nd Parallel Brewing Company for March 16, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. at 25 Dyke Road, Marshfield, for a beer garden, pending sign-off of the Marshfield Fire Department, Marshfield Police Department, and a submission of copy of their liquor liability insurance, naming the town of Marshfield. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the outdoor one-day wine and malt beverage license for Paul Shiles of Kingston for March 16, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., 25 Dyke Road.
Okay, number 6 is a discussion vote on request for resident to place a temporary mobile home for shelter after the fact. It was a request from the building department. I think the issue was some issue of running water and sewerage. So we always let the citizens just act, and here we are now just giving the formal approval. Hearing no objection from my peers, I'd like to make a motion the board moves to approve an after-the-fact temporary mobile home for Mary Schmidt at 115 Idlewild Circle to allow work to be done at their home. This approval is contingent on there being suitable facilities within the temporary mobile housing for running water, sanitary sewage, as approved by the Board of Health for 6 months, effective January 15, 2024. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve after the fact a temporary mobile home for Mary Schwinn at 115 Idlewild Circle, effective on February 15, 2024.
Were they the ones that had that trees fall on them during the big storm? Different street issue. So we've got 2 of them going on.
Yes, 2 mobile trailers.
Number 7 is discussion vote for the request of permission to waive fees relative to the replacement gas heater at 457 Main Street. It's item number 7. Reddington Gas, waive the permit, replacement of the gas heater, future permit. Hearing no objection from my colleagues, I'd like to make a motion the board moves to request the town administrator draft, the board moves to waive the gas permit fee on behalf of Kevin Reddington of Reddington Gas for the replacement of a gas heater for the DPW's Furnace Brook Pump Station located at 457 Main Street. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the waiving of the gas permit fee for Kevin Wrightington of Wrightington Gas for the DPW Furnace Brook Pump Station.
Next is a discussion vote to sign a letter to address the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection regarding the Holtec Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station. I know I've read some letters that have come to me from various organizations. I'm sure my colleagues have read them as well. We're kind of drafting up the same type of letter. I mean, I know Plymouth is operating, if we could use that term, but the radioactive material is still there. So it has not been removed. So any comments from my colleagues regarding item number 8?
I have a question for Michael.
Please.
Fire away. What would you like to say?
Great. Oh, thank you. Just very quickly, first of all, the chairman used the right term, operating license. That's good to hear, because they are. And the other thing to mention is, the reason we're doing the letter, and if the board does it, they'll be joining other communities that have done it, including Plymouth, and that is, there's a concern. The radioactive material is encased in cement. It's not presently being monitored right now. And it's important that that be monitored to see if there is any leakage. And we're not just talking about monitoring today, next month, next year. As long as that's there, it will need to be monitored and it will need to be tracked. Also, within the plant itself, there was water that was left, and that cooled the reactor. We don't know, and I want to be preface this, that we do not know if there's any radioactivity inside the water, so I want to be clear. However, it needs to be monitored as it evaporates. It evaporates by, the air, and that's going in. So what this group is saying is that they want to monitor the gas and monitor any of the evaporation that takes place so that folks would know in the surrounding communities if there is anything leaking out into the atmosphere. And that's why we would do the letter encouraging that the DEP forces Holtec to do the monitoring.
Nailed it. You got nothing new to add.
Yeah, because it's just not securing it.
That's correct.
It's venting.
That's correct.
They've also asked to release water into Cape Cod Bay. So there's a bunch of things going on there, so I'd like to make a motion, hearing no further discussion, the board moves to request the town administrator draft a letter to DEP Commissioner Bonnie, Michael? Heipel, to require Holtec, the licensed operator of the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station, to install, maintain, and use emission monitoring devices to monitor the temperature of each of the dry casks and the evaporation, forced or natural, of any radioactivity or chemically contaminated water that at any time reside in the reactor, torus, spent fuel pool, or separator, including air emissions, and look for a second for that.
Second.
please.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the town administrator to draft a letter, and I did take it, there is a letter in the packet for everyone to sign before we leave, and I did, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I just want to recognize Mr. Darcy, because he had reached out to the board, he got a communication, and I put it on the agenda, and
Thank you,
Thank
Michael.
Nicely done.
Thanks for letting it go on there.
Next is item number 9. It's a discussion vote to approve and sign a memorandum of understanding for the Corn Hill Lane land donation, which is parcel identification B16-0125. And I know we've spent a ton of time and energy trying to protect as much riverfront on the Union Street North River that we can over the years. And I think this is one of the last parcels. It's not a big parcel, but it's contiguous with an already protected parcel. So I'll turn that over if my colleagues have any questions or comments regarding the Cornhill Lane Preservation Initiative.
I'd just like Michael to explain the Wildlands Trust in this particular parcel's conservation restriction as they move forward, if you wouldn't mind, if you have that
absolutely be
information.
happy to.
Thank you.
Ms. Fiddler. So this is as the chairman alluded to, it's a relatively small piece, but it's another spoke in the wheel because it's connecting other pieces of land that are very valuable in the Littles area. This 2.2 acre piece of land will be monitored by the Wildlands Land Trust. What they're gonna do is they will take John Little's land, which we presently have a CR on, they will reopen that up, and they will include this 2.2 acres in that, so that will be fully protected, non-buildable by the CR. So that's how it's protected. Fairbanks folks are donating this very generously to the town.
And Wildlands Trust will hold the CR.
Correct.
Correct. Wildlands Trust holds a lot of the CRs in the land
Yes.
on Union Street. Thank you for that question.
And just one follow-up on that. So the process, because this is a terrific asset to the town of Marshfield. So the process, how this came to be, can you just share a little bit on that?
So we've been looking at land in those areas. The Open Space Committee has been reaching out to people that own contiguous pieces of land. Sue Karen, who works tirelessly on, as the chair of reached out to the Fairbanks. The Fairbanks last fall decided that they would donate this piece of land, and we've been working on it since then. You know, normally, and that was a great question about how it would be protected. Normally, that standalone piece of land, we wouldn't be able to protect it unless the Wildland Trust, that was one of the caveats to the Fairbanks donating this land, is they wanted to make sure that the land was protected, kept in its natural state, no development. The only way is Sue Karen negotiated with the Wildlands Trust to make sure that they're amendable to opening the CR on John Little's and including this 2.2 acre.
Okay. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that's item number 9. Then I'd like, after discussion, I'd like to make a motion the board moves to approve the donation of land approximately 2.2 acres on Cornhill Lane parcel ID 6B, as in Bravo, 16-125, to the town of Marshfield and sign the letter of memorandum of understanding for this land donation. The purpose of the MOU is to identify the roles and responsibilities for each party as they relate to the Cornhill Lane Preservation Initiative. Specifically, this MOU is intended to establish a framework for the permanent preservation of the property owned by Peter and Roberta Fairbanks. The effective date of this MOU shall be in force from November 6th, 2023 to December 31st, 2024. I'd like to look for a second for that, please.
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the donation of the 2.2 acres Cornhill Lane parcel and to sign the memorandum of understanding with the effective date of force from November 6, 2023 to December 31st, 2024.
The next is item number 10, is a discussion and vote on a request for permission for the Girl Scout group to sell Girl Scout cookies outside the fence of Marshfield Dog Park on February 25th, 2024, which is an after-the-fact request by the Girl Scouts. I love my Girl Scout cookies, I'm still eating them. Any comments, concerns from the board? Hearing none. I'd like to make a motion the board moves to approve the request for the Girl Scouts to sell cookies after the fact at the Marshfield Dog Park on February 25th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Girl Scouts will be set up to sell outside the actual dog park fenced-off area in the parking lot. The Girl Scouts may sell their cookies at the dog park on other days over the next 2 months, as long as they notify the town administrator in writing in advance of the time and dates. Look for a second for number 10.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
The board approves the Girl Scouts to sell their cookies after the fact at the Marshfield Dog Park on February 25th and for the next 2 months with proper notification.
We've already discussed number 11, so we'll move on to discussion and vote for request for permission to place temporary yard signs at the original Brant Rock Village Association. That's number 12. Any questions about this event? Comments? Everyone feels good with it? Me too. It's pretty straightforward. I make a motion that the board moves to approve the request of Nanette Pazielli? Got it. Event chairperson for the original Brant Rock Village Association to place a sign on the Brant Rock Esplanade to advertise their kickoff of their summer cookout, which will be this year in June of 2024. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve Nanette Pagiali's request as the chairperson of the original Brant Rock Association to place a sign to advertise their event in the Esplanade.
The next is item number 13, basically is a vote to accept the minutes of February 12th, 2024. I don't assume there's any discussion regarding that. Without the discussion, I would like to make a motion the board moves to approve the meeting minutes from the February 12th, 2024 meeting. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the minutes from February 12, 2024.
Okay, as previously explained at the beginning of the meeting, the board, I move the board goes into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to the collective bargaining. If conducted in open session may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town, and we will not be returning to public session. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to go into executive session,
Not
not to return to public session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.